What is the Matrix?
You mind? Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. You guys might hear a little bit of background noise because I've turned the noise cancellation off of my audio mixer because I want the mic to pick up the external sounds from outside by the New York Predator Department, who again have me under surveillance and will use their sirens whenever certain things is being said, whether I say it or whether it's a video that's playing certain words or what have you, they will use their sirens. Okay, and this video I meant to do it Thursday night when I got home, but I was a little tired, and so I said, okay, I'll do tonight, right? Plus I had to get up early this morning, so I didn't. Even though I did went to bed after 2, but was able to get up a little after 7. And again, as soon as I got up, opened my eyes, New York Predator Department again using their sirens, right? And that's due to the illegal implantation of a microchip. So they monitor what is called remote neural monitoring my brainwave activities, my thoughts. I know you guys, I think I played the video on another video I did where you had police in California engaging in this program called, it's kind of like Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where it's like this pre-crime thing that's going on. That's been happening for over a decade, right? You can also find programs like that in the UK. And actually, that's when I first heard about it, right? I mean, I've seen the movie Minority Report, but I was reading years ago, maybe even over a decade, of a young man who had police visited him because he stopped to talk to one of his, childhood friend that he hasn't seen in years, right? And because, because I guess this person was, had a criminal record, what have you, maybe in a gang or what have you, they put this guy under surveillance. They actually sent him a letter saying that you're going to be under surveillance. It's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous, the mindset of these people. And I talk about the dark triad personality traits, the Machiavellian psychopathic and narcissistic trait, right? These are the dark triads, right? And police officers in America the majority of them are highly narcissistic, right? Narcissistic, and they're psychopaths and sociopaths, right? And they operate under the color of law because they're in law enforcement. They have a gun and a badge, okay? And particularly when you bring in the racist element into things, when I talk about what is the reason why I call the New York City Predator Department, because over the past 2 decades, they have been predatory not only towards me but to others. All right. And so me trying to figure out what was happening, learning about what was happening. Okay. And it's a lot. I've done many videos. This channel has over 7,000 videos, and I'm not doing that just to do it. I'm doing it because this needs to be done and it has to be exposed. Because the one thing, again, this society, particularly this white supremacist society, the one thing it does is to criminalize particularly black people, but it also criminalizes poor white people, poor Hispanics, poor Asians, okay? But its specific creation was for the suppression and the oppression of black people, and to make sure black people remain a subservient class, and to re-enslave black people, okay? This you have to understand. All right, so me again, doing this under the threat of assassination and arrests and all this other stuff, you know, I do it because it has to be done. It is my purpose. Okay? And death is something that they can't use to scare me. Arrest is something that they can no longer use to scare me. Okay? Because again, my purpose is more important than theirs. All right? So anyhow, let's get on to the videos. And you know, since I introduced this new segment in the beginning of this video, let's go to Corrupt Cop USA. Okay, so here we go.
It's a little bit of weed.
Body camera footage obtained by The Intercept shows a Staten Island police officer apparently planting marijuana.
Again, Fair Use Act, fair use. All right, the fair use copyright disclaimer.
In a car during a traffic stop. The incident comes just a few weeks after a similar one.
I want you to read the title of the video. NY Predator Department officer caught apparently planting marijuana in car again. So it's not the first time. Okay?
Reported by the New York Times, in which the same cop was again caught by his body camera in the apparent act of planting marijuana in a car.
Yo, he put something in my car, yo!
Alright, this was in the back seat on the floor. It's a marijuana cigarette. It's lit.
In the more recent incident, two officers pulled over passenger Jason Serrano and a friend for a broken taillight. As the officers approached the car and the driver rolled down the window, the officers claimed the car smelled like weed and ordered both people out of the car.
The car smells like marijuana, so we're gonna check it. All right?
Now,
I fix it. There's nothing in the car. You'll be good to go. All right?
Right? Again, there's these talking points that they do to violate your rights, right? In order to obtain so-called legal reason to, again, violate your rights, right? The right against illegal search and seizure. So you'll hear that in states where they have legalized marijuana, right? They are still stopping black people, black men in particular, and saying that they smell marijuana. Even in states where it is legal, they're still using that excuse to search people's car. So what that tells you, again, it is how they're being taught to violate your rights. It is how they're being taught to, again, like they said, let's go hunt niggas. This is their own words. Okay? And they're trying to shut people up because they don't want to look bad. Okay? But hey, I'm going to use their talking point. If you have nothing to hide, why are you trying to shut people up? Why are you trying to shut me up? If you have nothing to hide, right?
Serrano was recovering from abdominal surgery after being stabbed. He lifts his shirt to reveal his wound to one of the officers.
I don't want to see that right now, okay?
I can get out. I can barely move, bro.
Once out of the car, the officers demand to search Serrano's jacket, and he refuses.
Do me a favor. Give me the jacket.
There's nothing in my jacket. I'm not getting searched for no reason.
As Serrano grows agitated, the officers become more aggressive.
Come on, relax. Yo. Relax.
He just showed them his injury. He was stabbed. Okay? So when, again, look at the definition of narcissistic personality disorder. Look at the definition of dark triad personality disorder. Any of the Machiavellian, the psychopathy, sociopathy. These people have embedded themselves within law enforcement agencies throughout America. It is their culture. It always interests me that you have people in positions who will label other people with some of the worst labeling, while they themselves commit the same crime. But because they're in position of power, somehow they believe that they're not those very same people who they're labeling. When they do the exact same thing, sometimes even worse. Okay? Arresting people who are not drunk and charging them with DUI, ruining their lives, planting evidence, drugs on innocent people. It is a culture of corruption that is not going to stop. And like I said, they don't want the system fixed because it's too profitable to destroy people's lives.
Relax.
Yo.
They grab him, push him to the ground, and handcuff him.
Take him down. Take him down. Take him down. Take him down. Take him down.
Yo.
Relax. Relax.
Serrano remains on the ground, handcuffed and in visible pain for the rest of the traffic stop, until an ambulance arrives to take him to the hospital.
Can someone call an ambulance? Is anybody gonna do that?
The two officers, Kyle Erickson and Elmer Pastran, begin searching the car and Serrano's jacket. Officer Erickson tells Pastran that they need to find evidence.
Searching the rest of the car.
Yeah, we gotta find something.
Officer Erickson begins searching the car. He searches
They know it looks bad. They know it looks bad. But again, remember I talk about these people will hold you accountable, but they don't want to be held accountable. They will hold you accountable whether you did something or not. But they don't want to be held accountable when they do something. When they break the law, when they violate your rights, when they show indifference, callousness. They don't want to be held accountable though. And always remember, in any lawsuit that anybody filed against the police department where you have video evidence of police engaging in unlawful behavior, terrorizing people, including children, the policy of every police department in America is to not admit to any wrongdoing. Somehow they feel by giving you money, then they don't have to be held accountable.
the passenger side area first. When he finds nothing, he can be heard murmuring an expletive. Erickson returns to Pastran to ask.
Should I search the whole thing? Or what do you think?
Yeah, search the whole thing.
He returns to the passenger side and searches through Serrano's jacket, the cup holder, and the center console.
These officers, they don't get.
As he continues searching the rest of the car, the driver approaches.
I didn't want you to search my car. Because, like, what is he doing? Like,
Ma'am, stand back.
why? What are you doing?
Erickson looks back at Pastran, visibly agitated.
See nothing.
Sorry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After several minutes searching the car, Erickson...
You know, these people like to talk about crimes. Oh, we have to, reduce crime. See what they've done to us as people within the society is to condition us to look past their crimes and to not get upset. When you look at the war that they've engaged in, particularly the New York Predator Department, which is called the Baby CIA, in curtailing any form of protest, when, again, protesting is a constitutional protected right. So ask yourself, do these people really believe in the Constitution? When these people take their oath, do they actually abide by the Constitution? Because they will bring up their constitutional rights when it's violated. But it is perfectly okay for them to violate your rights.
Again admits that he hasn't found anything.
Nothing?
I don't see anything.
Yeah. You said it's a truck? I'll get it for you.
15 seconds later, Erickson returns to the front seat cup holder and sets something down.
It's a little bit of weed.
When I see this, I'm laughing, but it's sad. But I'm laughing because they will come up with anything, even for a little bit of weed, like just like that now, that they will plant and ruin this young man's life. Okay? These are the people we have in the New York Predator Department. The vast majority of police officers, of predator officers. The vast majority. And it's time the public admit and understand that when they come out and they talk about a few bad apples, it's not a few bad apples. It's the whole damn barrel. And a few good apples. And eventually those few good apples, those that won't turn, will be kicked off of the police department, the predator department. Their name will be slandered. They'll be labeled mentally ill. Okay? Any whistleblower, and this goes back all the way in the 70s, Serpico. You know, they did a movie about it with Robert De Niro. They used the same tactics over and over again to destroy the lives of good cops. Okay? Good cops who they should want on the force, but that's not who they want. They want predators on the force. This is why, like I said, they're not the New York City Police Department. They're the New York City Predator Department. And I will continue to call them that because that is who they are.
It's a little bit of weed.
Erickson continues searching through the center console, where he's already looked. A minute or so later, he again sounds agitated.
Good?
Erickson shakes his head as he continues fiddling through Serrano's jacket, just out of the camera's view.
And these people think that they're the good guys. That's what they'll say. We're the good guys. Well, if they're the good guys, then show me who the bad guys are. All right? Show me who the bad guys are so I can go to their side. Because if these people are called the good guys, I want to go where the bad guys are. Not these guys. Not these good guys.
A couple minutes later, the two officers say they found wheat flakes in Serrano's jacket.
Flakes everywhere, though.
Yeah, no, he had weed. You could see his weed here.
At the end of the search, Erickson turns to Pastran.
You good? We're good?
The officers then fist bump each other.
Celebratory.
The few words exchanged between the two officers during the search are almost identical to those they exchanged during the search just a few weeks earlier.
Yeah. We had a fight. You know what I mean?
On that occasion, too, the search had ended with Erickson asking Pastran.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
An ambulance finally arrives to pick up Serrano. He spends the next 5 days handcuffed in a hospital room, waiting for his abdominal wound to close. Serrano took a plea deal to avoid jail time and didn't learn of his body cam's footage existence.
All right, so see what they do? You see, like I said, how many more? How many more? This is why, you know, when I don't look at other black men who have criminal records and think of them in any ill way, because I know the vast majority of black men sitting in jail have been sent by corrupt cops. The vast majority. Okay?
until after he pleaded guilty. The video, which didn't emerge for nearly 2 years,
he didn't commit because of racist, crooked, lying cops. I should not say a racist. These racist, crooked, lying ass cops. Okay? But I want you to hear what's even more disturbing. Okay? This is the Greer Politics. All right? And this is one of the lawyers, and she's going to talk about what happened. All right, it's a similar case, but this is the case with not with the guy that was stabbed, but this is with the same officers planting weed again in another black person car.
Taylor Poore is a staff attorney for the Office of the Appellate Defender. She was previously a staff attorney with the Staten Island Office of the Criminal Defense Practice at the Legal Aid Society. Thank you for joining me, Taylor.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you represented Lesue Kuyate, who was 19 at the time of his arrest. Can you tell us why police pulled him over and what led up to the search of his vehicle?
Sure. So the case started with 2 officers pulling the car over in Staten Island. They claimed they pulled the car over because the windows were tinted and because the driver didn't make a turn signal. And then they said they smelled marijuana, which they used as an...
How many times are we going to hear? Smelling weed, didn't make a turn signal, okay? This, again, these cops, when I talk about, again, they will call you crazy for exposing their crimes. They will call each other crazy for exposing their crimes, okay? I'm talking about the good cops, right, who come forward and blew the whistle on the corruption, right? They'll call those cops crazy. They have a history of doing this. They still do it today. When New York City pays out more than $500 million, okay, to settle police misconduct cases, why is it that those at the top in the predator department don't get removed? And again, New York City Police Department has a history of corruption. You can just, Google, do a search, you know what I'm saying? It goes way back. This police department in America is the most racist police department in America. More racist than the Chicago PD, Mississippi PD. You know why? Because they have received, there are officers on the New York Predator Department who have received training from the CIA. They have went overseas to receive training in Israel. The only police department in America, the 1980s, the CIA and the DEA embedded officers within the New York City Predator Department. When you look at these police officers engaging in psychological manipulation, torture, okay? So when I talk about torture, you're thinking about a Holman Square in Chicago where there's a black site. You don't think that they have those here in New York City? But it is well hidden. It is well hidden. Let's talk about the Central Park 5, the torture of these young teenage boys. But no, the media didn't say all these boys were tortured. Go and listen to this. There's a documentary that's based on, not the movie, but the documentary. Go look at the documentary and you will see how those boys were tortured. But, you know, we as black people, we don't get angry at these things. Okay? We don't get angry. But let them do this to a white person, all of a sudden we're angry. And again, they won't do this to a white person. Not here in New York. You don't hear that stuff a lot in New York. You might hear in other parts of the country where you may have a white town and you have poor whites and you have these officers doing it to poor white people. But in New York City, you don't hear them doing that to any white person, whether they're poor or wealthy. Never happens. Okay? But again,
excuse to get everyone out of the car and search their pockets and search the entire car. And obviously the reason that we're here is that the two lead officers on the case were both wearing body cameras. So after they've been searching the car for a few minutes, finding nothing and saying out loud on their cameras that the car looked clean, one of them says, "We've got to find something," you know what I mean? And his body camera turns off. What he doesn't seem to realize is that his partner is standing on the opposite side of the car in the perfect position for...
And you think it's just these two officers? Just by what she is going to say, it'll let you know that this is rampant. This is rampant. This system is corrupt. It has always been corrupt, and particularly against black people, particularly against black men. And this is something, again, we have to talk about, because, again, I'm tired of, you know, these Negropeans acting as if these things are not happening. Them motherfuckers would rather sit... Yeah, and I said motherfuckers. Yeah, that's right. I can get angry. Because, again, that's what they don't want. They don't want us to get angry when they do things like this. They don't want us protesting. They don't want us doing what they do. Right? But they're allowed to do it, though. They're allowed to retaliate against you. Right? And get away with it. But you can't speak the truth about them. And, again, we don't retaliate in a way against the police the way they retaliate against us. We expose them. That's what we do, but they don't want us to do that either. Like I said, what is coming on the pipeline? Negropeans going to get their wake-up call. They're going to get their wake-up call.
For his body camera to capture the first officer putting something on the car seat, where he then finds a joint after his camera turns back on.
And that's clear as day in the body camera footage that the I believe the New York Times had actually published, correct?
I think it is. Of course, the NYPD watched the same videos that I just described, and they cleared the officers of any wrongdoing, and as far as I know, those officers are still making arrests. So clearly.
So again, this is why they'll tell you that you always need an outside agency to come and investigate a police department or a police agency. Because when police agencies investigate themselves and their officers, they will always clear themselves and the officers of any wrongdoing. Even when they have evidence on the body cam to show that these predator cops lied, plant evidence, create dangerous situations, right? And don't be fooled when they throw a few officers under the bus. If the majority of police predator officers on the predator force are corrupt, throwing 100 under the bus doesn't fix the problem. Okay? It doesn't fix the problem. But they do that to quell the public anger. Right? Now talk about cognitive warfare. And we have to understand, again, as TIs as well as black people, you need to understand cognitive warfare. Okay? and I said this before, they use black people as training for these types of programs. They use the black community, they use black children, they use black men and women. The amount of police officers that have been exposed as being racist, they're still on the police force. They're still there. Okay? And Negropeans, the Sambos and Sambinas, will know that these officers are racist and will still talk to them. They'll still have lunch with them. The policy is for non-white people to not talk about those things. Right? But these racist officers, as well as the Sambos and Sambinas, because like I said, they can be racist too, will engage in the same behavior.
They have a different perspective on what the videos show.
Mm-hmm. What else was noteworthy on that body camera? I wish we could show it for viewers, but what else could you see from the second officer's body camera? Maybe your client at the time?
So my client is clearly aware from the video, from the footage, that something is happening and that the officers are planting something in his car. So he's narrating and he's telling the viewers that the officers are putting something in his car. And actually, you can see from cell phone footage that kind of complements the body-worn camera, that just before the officer who finds the blunt turns his camera back on, he's got some glassine baggies that he puts in the center console. Mm-hmm. Then he turns his camera back on, and he finds this blunt in.
Yeah. So it shows you that they walk with drugs, okay? But then arrest you for carrying drugs. They carry drugs, but they will arrest you for carrying a marijuana, a spliff, whatever you want to call it, weed, what have you. And they'll arrest you for it while having the same thing in their pocket or in their jacket. Right? This is not going away. Okay? The article that I just read on the previous video that did like this, but the NYPD, how they've ramped up the stop and frisk, and now you have officers who are proudly wearing these badge that looks like white supremacists. They're proudly wearing it. Okay? And they've silenced the black police officers as well as the Sambos and Sambinas, and I made this distinction, right? When I say the black police officers, I mean those police officers who are not violating the rights of the people that look like them just to get a promotion, okay? They're not throwing the people under the bus so they can advance their career in law enforcement. That's the Sambos and Sambinas, okay? So let's get that straight. All right?
The exact same place where both officers had previously searched on camera, found nothing, and then where he was shown on his partner's body-worn camera, putting something on the seat.
So your client was given bail, and he was actually held in jail for 2 weeks. He then came back to court 10 times before prosecutors dismissed the charges. If the video...
Okay. So even when they look at the video, they will engage in malicious prosecution, right? And in some cases, when you have black men and women who cannot pay for bail, lawyer fees, they end up going to prison for crimes that they didn't commit. Okay? And here's the thing. These people will call themselves Christians. They will go to church on a Sunday. They will kneel and they will pray. And they will put on that uniform with the wickedness in their heart and the hatred in their hearts and mind. And because a person like me who is speaking the truth about what it is that they have done and they continue to do, they'll say I'm hating. They'll say, "Oh, you full of hate." Right? I'm full of hate, but they're not full of hate. And again, I understand why black people don't see it. It's because their Lord and Savior, their Redeemer, is a white man. Their Jesus is white. Their God is white. Right? Their Blessed Mother is white. So our subconscious programming won't allow us to see these people for who they really are. And again, not all white people, okay? But it's the majority. And I talk about Muhammad Ali, you know, gave a brilliant example to a reporter who says, you know, well, Muhammad Ali, you know, you trying to tell me that there is no good white people out there? And he says, I'm not saying that. There are good white people out there. But if 10,000 snakes coming at me, you know, to devour me, to kill me, what have you, and 1,000 out of those 10,000 say to themselves, you know what, this is not right, and we're going to protect you, what is that 1,000 going to do against those 9,000? Right? Muhammad Ali was such a brilliant man. Brilliant, brilliant man. And black people need to understand that the vast majority of white people in America are extremely racist. Even the good ones are racist. By default. When I say by default, meaning that they are not working to tear down this system of white supremacy, because they're to benefit from it. So they may be good to you on an individual level, but they understand that this system was meant to give them privilege. This system was created and meant for them. They understand that the wealth of America was created off of the backs of enslaved Africans. Okay? And I'm not talking about the railroad with the Chinese and, you know, no. Okay? I'm not talking about that. Okay? America wasn't built off the backs of the Chinese. It wasn't built off the backs of the Irish, the Italians. Okay? They came in way after. All right? And when they came in, guess what? There was the N-word. Okay? The Irish, the Italians, and black people in America were viewed the same. Right? So how did they become white? Again, you guys gotta do your research. Understanding the truth. Right? So there's no delusion in your mind, because they use us for our votes. They use us against each other. They use us for their pleasure, for their games. And again, not all, but most. Okay? All right, let's continue the video.
So it was clear that these officers who kept suspiciously turning their cameras on and off, that they were planting drugs in his car. Why did it take 10 times of a court appearance for them to dismiss the charges?
Prosecution.
So one of the things that's really amazing in this case was that the video footage that I just described from the arrest shown on the body-worn cameras, recorded on the body-worn cameras, was turned over as evidence from the prosecutor's office, and they got it from the police officers. So the prosecutor's office had the video before we did, and they were perfectly capable of watching it themselves, but they continued to prosecute the case. And as you said, my client made many, many court appearances.
Okay, so ask yourself this. Do they really care about serving justice? Or do they only care about convictions? Okay? Because this will tell you, as well as others, that they only care about convictions. So whether you're innocent or not, whether they have the proof that you're innocent, they are going to hold on to those evidence. Okay? So if imagine you don't have a quick and witty lawyer. Okay? They'll send you to prison for a crime that they know that you didn't commit. Okay? Now, the next time anybody talk about me being hateful, I want you to go look at a police officer, a white one. Okay? Whether he's a good one or not. And then tell me, as he's looking at you, who's the one that's full of hate? Because they can't hide it. If their smile is going to be a sinister smile. If they don't smile, that should tell you everything you know. They don't care about justice. They care about conviction. And the more black men, black boys, black women, black girls they incarcerate, the more Hispanic men, Hispanic women, Hispanic boys and girls, is the more money their corporate sponsor makes. And it's the more money in private donation the department gets.
You had to keep on taking time off from work. And the prosecutors were making a plea offer that involved jail time. And because I was a relatively new lawyer at the time, I had the time to watch both officers' videos all the way through multiple times, which was how it became clear that the piece missing from Officer Erickson's camera was shown on his partner's camera. Again, the prosecutors had the same video. The video we got was from them. It's really just incredible to me that
I mean, like I said, she's a new lawyer and she couldn't even believe it, right? But imagine lawyers who's been there for decades, right? Who don't have the time to look at the videos because they have so many cases. So you can't tell me, like I said, I will never look at a black man that looks like me, who has a criminal record, and I will say, you know what, it is all your fault. This goes much deeper than that. And again, this is why we have to operate on a conscious level. Not just us as black people, but white people too. Asian people, Hispanic people, Arab people. Because trying to find the right word here. The predatory nature of the vast majority of police officers. Okay, and in order for you to understand that, in a more broader context, I always say go and read Breaking Bad by Noam Stamper. Go and read that book for you to understand why black people, Asian people, Arab people, have you, who join the police department, and read about how they're conditioned. Read about the racist things that goes on during their time in the police academy, right? That they have to endure. All right. So again, like I said, particularly when I hear black women say, "Oh, really, you got a criminal record," I'm not going to talk to them. Again, when I talk about black women failing to understand the what white supremacy really is and what it has done to black people. But I also understand that they've been conditioned to believe certain things and to have certain talking points. Right? But little do they know, within the past decade, more and more black women, excuse me, and black girls are being incarcerated at an alarming rate. They did it with black men and black boys first. And now they're moving on to black girls and black women.
My client had to keep on coming back to court to fight the case. I think another really important part of this case, and something to keep in mind, is that body-worn camera footage is not turned over at the first court date. So many people just aren't able to keep coming back to court for 12 court dates and keep taking that time off from work.
So they take plea deals. All right. So when I talk about the system creates criminals, this is one aspect of the system creating criminals. Okay? All right. So I just wanted to do this. Again, this is the segment of Corrupt Cop USA. And now I want to move to another segment. Again, this is not going to be a regular thing, but I need to, again, show what it is I'm talking about. So when I talk about the poisoning of young black children, right, including us when we were younger, I'm not saying me personally. I don't know. I never had been tested for lead. But like I said, I remember in the 80s, going to school, and you have these children who were living in public housing who were always getting into fights, had a lot of behavioral issues, and they will blame it on the parents being drug addicts and so forth. And that simply was not true. Right? The lie that we were told. Okay? And the thing is that we as black people have been so gullible and so eager to listen and trust these people within our government, while ignoring the reality that's right in front of us. Okay? And so, I was talking about the public housing sector, but also, in the private sector. But again, I want you to see the two different sets of rules, how people with money who are criminals are not considered criminals when they're committing crimes against people of color, particularly black people. Okay? So here's a story from the New York Post. Okay? And I'm also going to point something out too with the newspapers in New York and how they engage in psyops, right? In manipulation. Okay? New York City worst landlord agrees to historic $6.5 million settlements over thousands of violations. Okay? The city worst landlord, now I want you to remember, it says the city worst landlord. That means that he's the worst. There's nobody else that's more worse than this individual. Okay? Has agreed to pay a historic $6.5 million in fines and restitution to its tenants for a slew of housing violation, including condition that left 130 young children with lead poisoning. Now, again, when you are reading stories like this, you have to look deeper. How long has this landlord owned these buildings? Okay? And then within a certain amount of year, they'll tell you how many of these children were poisoned with lead. But what they don't do is go back. Then it's to go backwards than the years that they tell you, right? Because guess what? There were other people living in those buildings with children. They may have moved out. Then go back even further. There are other people who were living in those buildings in the same horrific condition with children, right? Just as how I read about the New York Housing Department HUD, right? In 2017, 2016, over 10,000 children poisoned with lead, majority Black and Hispanic children. Okay? Living in apartments where they had older siblings who were once children. They never count those older siblings as being poisoned with lead. Right? So when you read things in the news, the news is full of propaganda. If you don't have a conscious and a analytical mindset, an analytical way of thinking, right? You're again, they do this to manipulate you. You say, oh, it wasn't that bad. So if over 10,000 children were poisoned with lead in 2016, 2017. Let's go back. I think the age they say was from 4 to 7, right? So let's go back 5 years. How many children were poisoned with lead? Let's go back another 5 years. How many more children were poisoned with lead? And as the further you go back, you'll see the numbers getting added. It will add up exponentially. But they don't want to talk about that, because it is their way of manipulating us into thinking that, oh, this is just for these kids and it never happened before, right? And they know this. They know what's going on. These white people, they know what it is that they've done to us and our children, including, us when we were younger. They know. And I know. And you know now if you didn't know before. Environmental warfare. It's all part of cognitive warfare. And until we understand, until we start to confront these truths, they're going to continue to do it. They're going to continue to lie. Just like HUD lie. Even the judge tell them, you're liars. Okay? And yet, when these kids, when these children grow up having behavioral issues, nobody says, hey, you know what? The city poisoned these children. These private landlords, they poison these children. They just look at the behavior of these children and they criminalize. So again, this is another criminalization. Talk about the system of white supremacy, how it creates criminals, particularly within the black community, within black people. This is what I'm talking about. This is part of what I'm talking about. And again, there are many more ways in which they engage in the creation of criminal-minded people. They create the criminals. Again, I'm not going to blame black people. Okay? I'm not going to do that because I know the truth. What we as black people don't understand is how powerful psychological manipulation, poisoning of us, propaganda, all these things that falls under the umbrella of cognitive warfare, neurocognitive warfare, and what it does. Because if you go if you go look at what cognitive warfare is, they'll tell you that when you become part of cognitive warfare, when you are a victim of cognitive warfare, you don't know what's being done to you. You have no idea. But your actions shows that they have engaged in cognitive warfare against you, whether it's an individual or a group of people. Okay, so let's see here. Livermore Management and its owner, Morris Lieberman, admitted in their agreement with the state and feds that they violated housing law related to lead, mold, and maintenance code, and that they openly deceived tenants regarding condition in more than 2,500 rent-stabilized apartments across the 49 buildings in their portfolio. Limo management rented out apartments in hazardous condition to unsuspecting tenants, putting thousands of people in harm's way. State Attorney General Letitia James said in a statement, tenants in Limo buildings, including children, were forced to live with leaks, mold infestations, and elevated levels of lead. Morris Lumen days of harming tenants and their families are over. Well, how long did it take for the state, right? And again, Letitia James, black woman, Attorney General, black woman. Okay? How long? So what happened to the previous tenants? And again, look at the value of the lives that these people ruined. 6.5 million. Okay? That's the amount. Just like Flint, Michigan. All right? They continue to show us that our lives don't matter. Our lives have no value. That when they do things like this, right? That these children who were harmed, who will need care for the rest of their life, that's 6.5 million. Where does it go? Each of these children should be getting at least that 6.5 million each. Okay? Tax free. Because they're going to need that money for the rest of their life. Look at this. A tenant sent pictures to Limo in a message asking them to fix the mold in their 2-year-old son's bedroom 5 months after first requesting repairs. But these people walk up and down the street, and we look at them like they're the chosen people because they told us they're the chosen people. Chosen for what? Chosen for what? If their God is telling them to do this to us, the same God that we claim to believe in, then who's the fool? Who is the fool? Lieberman, Limo, and one of their agents, Jason Korn, have toppled the city public advocate's worst landlord list for years. Okay, for years. And have more than 30,000 housing violations across their properties. Again, you ask your question. If this was a black landlord, okay, do you think that he would be allowed to do this for years, for decades? Not even years, for decades. One of their Brooklyn properties included an Ocean Avenue, a building on Ocean Avenue has alone had more than 5,000 violations since 2012. 2012. I want you to understand this. This is how long it takes the city to act. When they're Jewish and white, they can do whatever the hell they want to do, particularly to black and Hispanic people. But I'll tell you, they will not have white people living in those conditions. Among the property's issues were chronic water leaks, mold, lead paint, heat, and vermin infestation, says the AG office, which began investigating Limo in 2021 over complaints from residents, advocates regarding the extremely poor condition and the lead levels found in children of tenants. Now, you had other attorney generals. They did nothing. Okay? And as far as I know, Letitia James has been the attorney general for a couple of years now. Okay? again, for you niggerpeons out there, don't you ever, in your mind and in your mouth, tell me I'm full of hate for speaking the truth. You would be a fool to love the people that hate you, the people that does this to you and your children. More than 130 children living in Limo buildings have tested positive for elevated blood lead levels since 2012, officials said. The city housing department has issued nearly 1,000 violations of lead-based paint hazard since 2001. Now, how, again, they know that it is against the law to use lead paint in the home. They know that. In apartments and homes, that's a no-no. But they still do it. So again, like I said, I cannot, when I hear other black people, the so-called respectable black Negroes, and they're not really respectable, okay? I call them kiss ass, as Dr. Khalid Muhammad, kiss ass, sissified, punctified niggers. And again, not niggers. Niggers means king. Negroes. Okay? Nigger means king, leader. Look up the etymology of the word. You'll see what it means. All right? Negroes. Because you can't be respectable. You can't make me think that you're respectable, and if you're in a position to where when you read a news story like this, that you do nothing, right? But you love to talk about how much influence you have, how much money you have, what a big house you have. So Malcolm X said about the black bourgeoisies. They're selfish, and they're only concerned about their greed and their love of whiteness. The city housing department has issued nearly 1,000 violations for lead-based paint hazard since 2001, and more than 1,450 violations for mold, nearly 1,500 violations for leaks, and a staggering, listen to this, a staggering 2,331 citations for rodent and roach infestation. And these people are allowed to continue to operate and own buildings. There's no other group of people who own real estate buildings for rent, to rent out to people, excuse me, who would have these buildings in such deplorable condition, have people living like animals in such conditions, and they not get arrested, their buildings are not taken from them. 30,000 fucking housing violations. Court document alleged Lieberman seeming indifference to the plight of his tenants in his response to an email telling him that 30 units were complaining of insufficient rent. And Lieberman wrote in response. Limo management did not respond to the Post request for comment Friday. The PAC accompanied the filing of a consent decree which would force the landlord to find and abate all lead-based paint violation across Limo portfolio, in addition to making other massive repairs. And if you think that them using lead paint in those apartments was because they were cheaper, then I need to smack you upside the head. This is war. This is warfare that they've engaged against us for decades. For decades. Dumbing us down. Destroying our intelligence. Okay? And again, the value of black lives don't mean shit to these people. Even to the people in high office that look like us. To think that a 6.5 million and what, including nearly 3 million restitution to impact tenants, is sufficient is ridiculous. It's an atrocity. We as black people have to wake up. Stop electing these people into office that look like us, that don't fight for us, who are there to protect the status quo. And that status quo is to do what? Is to continuously wage war on us as people and our children. When you see them in the churches and they're talking about God, understand that the God that they worship is the same God that these people worship, that tells them to engage in genocide against black people, to engage in poisoning against black people, to engage in creating environments in which black people are continuously suffering in. You really need to start to rethink who it is that you're worshiping. All right, here's another article, okay, from the New York Post. Relatives of New York City worst landlord. Now, like I said, if somebody call you the worst, that means you're the only one, right? I mean, they can have a few worse people, right? So instead of saying one of New York's worst landlords, okay, listen to how they put these things in, because again, they know we have a short-term memory. They know because they've poisoned us with lead for decades, right? For decades. Relative of New York City worst landlord call heartless and inhumane by harried tenants in his own building. The scion of one of New York's most notorious slumlord families is being accused of heartless and inhumane management by tenants in an Upper West Side apartment building he owns, just days after a member of the family was indicted over allegation of vile tenant harassment. Residents of 515 Cathedral Parkway believe landlord Fred Obexalom has negligently let the building fall into dangerous disrepair, and even tried to drive out long-time regulated tenants so he can hike rent and cash in. Okay, again, New York has dozens of these slumlords who are allowed to operate buildings, who are allowed to put people's lives in danger, including our children's. Okay, and they're allowed to operate like this for decades. If we don't open up our eyes, again, when we see how our young people is today, when you look at the intelligence level, how it's going down, right? We don't think about what it is that they've done to their parents or even to them. When you see some of these kids committing crimes, they just make you shake your head and be like, no, that can't be possible. Are they that stupid? We tend to not want to look at their circumstance that was created by this government, by this white supremacist system, because they know the outcome. They know what it is that they're doing to ruin the lives of future generation of black children and black men and women, to manipulate us, to engage in cognitive warfare, to have us fight against each other, blame ourselves. Because they said it, that in the new world, there'll be no room for black people. The new world that they're going to create. I want you to remember that. It's not me saying that. They said it. Okay? And they're proud of it. They're proud of saying it. Okay? I don't understand how any black person, particularly in the U.S. government, particularly the Congressional Black Caucus, can even meet with a war criminal like Netanyahu. But time and time again, they do. Time and time again, when Israel discriminated against black people, the Congressional Black Caucus says nothing. When they were sterilizing the Ethiopian Jewish woman, the Congressional Black Caucus says nothing. When in Israel they're murdering young black men, the Congressional Black Caucus says nothing. And yet all of a sudden, they are seeking to speak with the Congressional Black Caucus because they know how they've conditioned us. You know, we're their pets. All right, I'm not sorry for saying that, but we are their pets. Like I said, I don't, the Congressional Black Caucus will stand up and say, well, this person is a war criminal, but it's okay though, because Israel can commit genocide. Netanyahu, who the International Criminal Court deemed him a criminal, a war criminal, and they're still meeting with Netanyahu. When you hear the Israeli lobbying pack talk about, we have to get these young black politicians when they're young, we have to get them when they're young. We have to, attack them when they're young, right? We have to get them to believe what we want them to believe, to do what we want them to do. And how do you think they're doing that? How do you think they're doing that? You remember Jeffrey Epstein? What he was doing for Mossad? Setting people up, blackmailing them. Yet we continue to see young black men and black women get into politics, and no one is pulling them aside and say, hey, you need to look out for this. You need to understand this. But we allow them to be entrapped. We allow them to be manipulated. Right? And white supremacists, they're very smart. When they demonize black groups like the new Black Panther Party, when they say they're a hate group, but yet they don't call these Israel lobbying group hate groups. They don't call these landlords hateful for what it is that they're doing to black people and Hispanic people. But they'll call you hateful for speaking the truth, for calling them out on their hate. So they're the only one that's allowed to hate. They can hate you, but you can't hate them. All right? That how it works? You can hate us, but we can't hate you. Okay. Well, a new day is coming. All right? Okay, well, it's that time. Wow, so, let's get to the videos on my targeting. Okay. And again, this is from Thursday night. Okay. Actually, Thursday during the day. I don't think I posted this video, but it's from during the day to the night. It's quite a few videos, but they're short. Okay, which is a good thing. All right.
Back to a brand new video on the targeted program, targeted experience. It's cute. Except for that damn, what do you call it? The forehead eyelashes. Shit is ridiculous on going on. Right? What did I just say that?
Now, as I said, the word "damn." This is another word that they use. That they'll either use they use the call horn, right? Whenever I say the word "damn," like "I'm damned." Listen, as a black person, particularly in the system of white supremacy, we are all damned. Whether you have money or not, you may be wealthy and you live in your life, you got money, what have you, but you cannot speak out against white supremacy. Okay? You're damned. You're a middle class black person. You can't speak out against white supremacy. You're damned. All right? You are a working class black person, a poor black person speaking out against white supremacy. You're damned. So again, in America is, as Malcolm X says, right? Malcolm X, he's saying that, particularly when it comes to dealing with police officers, how they will beat you up, arrest you, and charge you with assaulting them. In America, they will beat us up, assault us, murder us, brutalize us, poison us. And then when we speak out against it, they'll say, "Oh, you racist." It's reverse racism. We're damned. So again, these things, here's the thing. They use language, and I understand how they construct certain language, right? Particularly in the way how they target me to create a certain mindset within me, right? And so I have to separate the mindset they've created within me from my African self, right? My conscious, self-aware African self, which I have to operate on every single day on a conscious level. Okay? All right? Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes my unconscious programming doesn't sneak in there. But every day I get up, and I know that they hate every day that I get up. I know they hate that I go to sleep, because when I go to sleep, it tells them that I am not afraid of their threat. I'm not afraid of their threat of coming into my bedroom when I'm sleeping or what have you, that I am not afraid. Okay? When I speak out about these things, it shows them that I am not afraid. All right? And fear is one of the biggest factors they use to manipulate us. Fear, stress, every damn thing. Put it like this. Everything is weaponized. All right? So recently, when I start posting pictures of dark-skinned black women, they will use the sirens. At times in my targeting, they will think that they've conditioned me to the point where I hate black women. That will never happen. And so they'll send some white women. Oh, white women will treat you better. No, thank you. What you have to understand with white supremacists and white supremacy is that when black people or black person love themselves and they love their people, when white people sees this, their subconscious conditioning takes over. And they have to force themselves into your life, right? In order to destroy that love, right? In order to destroy that love. So they'll send the honey traps. Whether white woman, white man, you know, if they see you as a threat, if they see you as the next civil rights leader, if they see you as a community activist, they'll destroy you. Or they'll do things to try to control you. And again, to discredit you, right? If you say you're pro-black, you love black people, you believe in a black family, you speak about it, and all of a sudden, you end up got a white girlfriend, white boyfriend, white husband, white wife. After being so pro-black, is because you don't understand that you have been the victim of psyops. Okay? You see, black people don't infiltrate the KKK and marry white, well, not knowingly anyway, at least I hope not, white supremacists. You know, if a white man say he's in the KKK and a black woman marries him, or even have a child by him, you know, it shows you that her mindset is so warped that she would ignore this person hateful, or if it's a black man, you know. So we have to understand how we are conditioned within the society, and how, you know, how much of control they have over our minds. Okay, so I'll continue to post images of beautiful, dark-skinned black women, right, as well as the many different shades of black women, and they can use the sirens all they want. Okay, you're not gonna stop me. And let me tell you, when I talk about operating on a conscious level, there are days when I make a conscious decision. I'll spend an hour on Facebook posting images of black people, beautiful black women, black families. Okay, which they will always sit outside using the sirens, and that's okay. Because the more they do it, is the more I'm going to post more pictures of beautiful black people. Okay?
Some of these women, they have the mindset of teenagers. You know, they look like she's in her 30s and doing that silly stuff. All right? Putting what look like eyelashes on your damn forehead. You know, that's teenage stuff, you know? So again, talk about the childish mentality, you know? And a lot of it is religion, right? Dictated by the Bible. Right? You have to become a child.
When I say,
right? They have to make you into a child. Think of your
yeah, when I say the childish mentality, okay, most of us are children in the adult bodies. That goes for men and women. Okay? But again, it is through no fault of our own. It is perpetrated on us. When you are raised in ignorance, okay, and most of us are raised in ignorance, okay, because most of us are very religious, and we think religion gives you wisdom. Religion don't give you wisdom. Religion don't tell you the truth. Religion only makes you believe what those people who created the religion want you to believe. It is not grounded in truth. It may have some principles to where you can live your life a certain way, okay, but there's no truth in there, okay, at least in its interpretation and how you've been taught to interpret it. There's no truth in that.
Give you a childish way of thinking, right? And a childish belief system. Anyhow, that's my introduction. Welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Imagery program that I'm experiencing. Soon as I'm walking eyes geared towards the U.S. government. All right, yeah. License plate, let's say. U.S. government license plate on the vehicle. All right. just got to go put my foot back down and back out. And I should have just went straight to the school, but you know, probably influenced. Right? Because I only have like what, 20 minutes? Maybe even less than that. So it's probably being influenced to go to the apartment and come back out. Because normally I would. That's what I'm saying. When they affect you like that, I can analyze my thoughts and okay. Normally I would just go to the.
Hold on, I'm getting an echo. These videos are from December 12th. Just want to put that in there.
School this week. Right? But, you know, again, you operate on your subconscious programming. Sometimes, again, it's being put into your mind. Right? So, again, stuff that doesn't make sense, you do it without thinking about it. Because that's your subconscious programming. So the common sense thing for me to do would just be, I just walk to the school. Right? But I'm already here, so put my foot back down, come back out. Maybe that's what they want, you know? But hey, like I said, some things, yeah, you know, it'll happen, you know? You just gotta, like I said, make sure that when they try to put negative subliminal thoughts, that when they put negative subliminal thoughts in your mind, that you're able to see it with your conscious mind, right? Because they do things. A lot of things they do is below your consciousness, right? But like I said, it embeds itself, right? The programming, the negative programming, it embeds itself in your subconscious. Your conscious mind can't recognize the tactics and the methods being used. Talk to you guys in this video. All right. So the perps is the white guy and the white woman. You know, there's a teenager, white teenager, 11 pants building. And see, over the years, he's gotten so tall. He's actually taller than me now. You know? And I'm like, man, this kid is tall. I asked him one time, I said, you play basketball? He was like, nope. I was like, okay. So maybe you should. You got some height. Find out if you're good at it. You know, you're good at it, who knows? You might end up in the NBA one day, but I guess it's not his interest. You know, and I love that. I love that when kids, because they have the height or the build, but it's not their interest, their parents don't push them into sports. You know, because sometimes I said these parents put these children into sports because they hoping one day that these kids will make it to the NFL so they can be taken care of. You know, it isn't what's best for the child, it's what's best for them. You know, I mean, I guess you could say it's best for the child also. You know, but that's the afterthought. It's more about these kids taking care of them. You know, so if you have a kid that's very tall, he may not like sports. If you force him into sports, then he may end up resenting you, or he may not. You know, like I said, very few college basketball players make it into the NFL. All right, and that's why it's important that you be honest with your child. And say, hey, you know what? You may not be drafted. Just finish up your college and get your degree. All right, that's important. So, yeah. So one of the things that this officer does, if you see the young teenage girl,
one up there. That's
just finish up your college.
Go back a little.
And get your degree. All right.
Now, I'm not sure if you guys can hear the echo, but all of a sudden, you know, it's echoing, right? Wasn't doing that before. All right, so, but this will happen. This is what, again, some of the things that they'll do, and as you know, as I was, I think I was looking at the calendar. All of a sudden, my computer started acting weird, and then all of a sudden, now it's echoing, right? So I have to I gotta go into the settings, and actually it's the filter. I gotta go to the filters and adjust certain things. All right, let's see. Okay, still echoing. How about now? All right, that's better. Okay. All right, there's a little delay, but it's fine now. At least I think so. Or maybe not. Let's see again. Yeah. Testing 1 2. 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 All right. Well, listen. It's I guess since I'm doing the video, I really don't have time to mess with this too much. But this is something that they'll do. Okay. Anyhow, let me see if I can turn this filters off and see what happens there. All right, testing 1 2. Yeah. Okay. I really don't know what to do right now. They're just, I mean, this is what they do, right? I'm doing a video, everything is fine. Then they start messing with it. So I'm hearing the echo in my headphones, but I'm not sure if it might be on the recording. So that's something, like I said, I don't know. I can try to fix it, but I got to get this video going. Okay. So what I'll do is I will probably limit what I say, only because, again, this is kind of ridiculous, but hey, it is what it is. Okay.
That's important. So, yeah. So one of the things that starts to do is, if you see the young teenage girls, two of them walk past me, is that they start clapping their hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what? You know, they do it from time to time too. You know, clapping. I'm like, okay, why are you clapping? Are you cheering me on, or what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, right? What are you doing? You cheering me on or what? You know what I'm saying? But you know, these people, there's always on a trend. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll take it as them cheering me on. You know what I'm saying? And then they walk towards me and they start clapping. I'll take it as them cheering me on. Yep. Anyhow. Gotta upload a few videos. One thing I stopped doing is, usually I upload my videos at night. I usually set to set a schedule, right? But I'm not doing that anymore because what they've done when I do that is to prevent my videos from premiering. So right now I just upload it and publish it right away. without scheduling any sort of premiere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the tricks that they use to prevent me from uploading my videos. Like I said, you know, why go through all that effort if I'm the crazy guy? You know what I'm saying? So,
Lafayette head.
Why go through all that? So yeah, one of the things that I realized what they do. I have to pause it for a minute because the dude standing up, the Hispanic guy, the Hispanic perp, right? And then the license plate, right? The license plate LLY, right? I'm like, okay. So again, I have to shuffle my thoughts because again, when they put it in my subconscious, to see what it is that they're trying to insinuate. And only thing I can say is a large lady, right? Yeah, I don't want no large lady. I don't want no overweight, obese woman. All right. So yeah, no overweight and no large woman. Again, they do things like that because again, they use letters, words, phrases, right? So they put things in your subconscious and then, you know, they'll target you. This is why you see the Hispanic guy standing next to the vehicle. Like I said, my eyes just shifted towards the license plate. So this is what they do. Large lady, huh? Oh, thank you. Right? That's what they'll do too, because, you know, I always talk about, you know, majority of black people are obese, right? 80% of black women in America are obese, and 80% are overweight. 80% of them are obese, right? Next is 60-something% of black men are overweight, and about 50% of them are obese. So we have an overweight epidemic and an obese epidemic in the black community, and you know, black people don't want to address that. Okay, they don't want to address it. Again, anytime you tell them the truth, they don't want to hear it. They've been conditioned not to listen to the truth, right? And because you're telling the truth, then you're negative, right? You know what I'm saying? And this is what YouTube does. I understand their negative contents, but they're also truthful content that they censor. And we got to recognize that. We got to be able to understand and say, hey, this is not negative, this is very truthful, right? So again, anytime, particularly when it comes to white supremacy, when we talk about white supremacy and the effect that it has on black people, you know, we get this pushback, oh, that's negative, and I don't want to hear negativity. That's not negativity, that's the damn truth. You know, like I said, like I tell you, particularly growing up in a family where you have a lot of women in the family, right? I think I was talking about the poisoning of young black children, particularly here in New York City, with men. And it's like, I don't want to talk about that negative stuff. Again, how is it negative? The truth, we've been conditioned to where we can't even tell the truth because they think it's negative. All right? And again, and it's factual. Every year, thousands of black children in New York City are poisoned with death. Right? But you can't talk about it because they'll tell you that's negative. And they don't want to hear it. So again, we still think we're not brainwashed. Right? We still think we're not conditioned. Right? We still think that we're not psychologically manipulated. That is, and the fact that we think that, it shows. Because I can always admit, I have been brainwashed, and I can be. I can be influenced, and I have been. Right? But you have the fear thinking that saying, not believing that God is the only one that can control their mind and manipulate their mind. Like, okay, you keep saying that. You keep saying that, and not understanding that there are technology out there in which they can manipulate you. Talk about cognitive warfare. Alright? And like I said, just look at the black, look at the minds of black people. Alright? it shows you an example of what cognitive warfare can do to a population of people. And like I said, they'll always use us as test subjects. They'll always use us as whatever training they want to engage in other countries. They come into the black community and use us. Right? Anyway, talk to you guys soon. Of the target programs I'm going to experience. So apparently sent me some little message. I've received some letter. So I took my daughter to the Boys and Girls and made sure it came out with an envelope in my hands. To activate them. Right? So let's see. You see the red vehicle there too? Look at the red vehicle there. This is a test. They'll do these tests, right? Apparently there's supposed to be a fight with these kids. I saw it was me and my daughter was getting to the intersection. That I saw a whole bunch of kids running, So I figured, I'm saying to myself, okay, this is gonna be a fight, huh? So she came on and she saw it. She was like, yeah, be careful. I'm like, careful of what? Look. See, red vehicle, like I said. Okay, license plate C54 RZA. Yeah. Hilarious. So anyway, I took my daughter to get some more sausage. Again, she didn't wear socks. She had stockings on, but still, I don't want her to wear socks. So, and she being that she liked the socks that I bought her, we got another some more. Right? So as we're walking, they and again they do that. They manipulate my daughter to do stuff like that. I told her many times I don't want to see her going to school or any socks on her feet, particularly in the winter. But she doesn't quite understand. So sometimes I'll just like this Friday, I'll go to the boarding house. Right? But this is what they do. All right? So again, engaging in manipulation. My daughter's too young to understand. My son, on the other hand, as he gets older, they begin to understand a lot more. So they'll use my oldest children, I should say, less and less because I've already spoken to them about what's going on, right? And so they kept looking at my daughter, do the staring campaign at my daughter. Again, young kids, using a lot of young kids. Like I said, there's a pattern I've shown you that they've done over and over again. They'll use adults, and after exposing adults, they start using kids. Right? And there's a reason why they use kids. Okay? There's a reason why they use kids because, again, she's using the American flag with her jacket. So I'm sure you guys have been using that today a lot. Again, same thing. It's a pattern. Right? It's a pattern. And exposing the patterns is what you need to understand, what you need to do as a TI. Because once you start to see the patterns, you'll see you repeat the patterns over and over again. Okay? And what they're doing is once you start to understand what's being done to you, right? Their manipulation and what it is that they're doing, and the continued manipulation, they figure in their mind, well, we're going to keep doing these patterns, they're going to get used to it, and all of a sudden it's not going to affect them anymore. And that's not true. But again, we're dealing with European mindset who don't quite understand certain things, right? So we go by their definition, their understanding, but we have a different set of understanding. Like I said, once you come into your African consciousness, your African conscious mind, you begin to see that sometimes they don't quite understand what they claim to understand. But because they're in a position of power, we go by their understanding. Right? Just like with religion. Okay? The misinterpretation of African spiritual concepts that they created because of the lack of understanding. Because they are not connected, and not all of them, right, but the majority of them are not connected with nature. This is why they worship things outside of nature. Right? Like their God, their Jesus. Instead of again, the misinterpretation of African spiritual system and African way of life, particularly when it comes to women, right? Look at his keys, yeah. Look at you too, buddy. Whatever. Anytime, motherfuckers. Anytime. Alright? Anyhow. That's the day these Negro Europeans will hold their head in shame. So I can't wait. So anytime. As I was saying. Okay? The fact that when Europeans, I should say Europeans, say when the Greeks conquered Kemet, right? And again, a lot of Greeks travel, not a lot, but their scholars were educated in Kemet, in Africa, by black people. Right? So when they conquered Kemet, the Greeks weren't that bad as the Romans, because under Greek rule, women still had certain types of liberty and freedom. When the Romans came, that all changed. Right? We start to see the even more suppression of women. And particularly with Kemetic spiritual system, women were wise. Women were the counsel of the kings and queens. You could not be a king or a queen through the line of the male. It's always a line of the female. European is the opposite. If you go and you read early religious beliefs from the Europeans, you begin to understand how they hated women. All right? But you got to understand why they hated women and why they subjugate women to such harsh treatment. Okay, and for that, I would recommend you go and read The Iceman Inheritance by Michael Bradley. Right, go and read Yaruga. I forgot the author's name of that one. But it's a book I recently started reading myself. And you'll see, right? That's why in Genesis, they choose the woman to be the reason why human beings were cursed. All right, under God. But that's how they taught it. But you have to look at it this way. If it wasn't for the woman who gave knowledge to the man, okay, because again, so-called Satan, in which if you go read the Tempter of Eve, they claim that the beast in the garden was a black woman. So why did they come up with these concepts like that? Because again, in Africa, the black woman is the one who were the wise people. In European, you have wise men. But in Africa, spiritual concept, you have wise women. Okay? You have a matriarchal lineage of the highest order. Right? As in European religion, it is the kings and queens are passed down through the male lineage, right? Patriarchy. So there's two totally different things. All right? And that's the difference. Again, their reinterpretation of African spiritual concept is what got us so fucked up in our minds. And the fact that we don't even want to learn about our African spiritual concept is telling you, and it should tell you, because I already know, that how much European indoctrination, religious indoctrination has manipulated our mind beyond recognition. All right, talk to you guys in the next video. Okay. Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Experience. So, now that I've exposed the fact that they is in the hallway waiting for me to leave, alright, so what do? Hold the elevator. Okay, I've been standing here for a bit. They hold on to the elevator. Okay. And then I take my phone to record. All of a sudden now, the elevator is coming up. All right? Let's tell you, that's the extent of things that they do. When I wasn't recording, pressing the elevator button many times, the elevator wasn't coming up. All right. So, okay.
Yep, that's what they started doing.
Hey, yeah, bunch of bastards. Mumbling on his breath. That's what you gotta say, motherfucker. So I'm mumbling under your damn breath. You're a grown ass man. You got something to say to me, say. Because if I got something to say to you, I say it to your face. Anyhow, kind of childish shit they engage in. So anyway, my video, I was upstairs waiting for the elevator, and I kept pressing the button, and nothing. The elevator wasn't moving. And I'm like, what the hell? So I started the recording. All of a sudden, I switched to my phone, and the camera started recording. All of a sudden, what happened? The elevator went up. I get into the elevator, elderly black woman in there. As soon as I walk in the elevator, she's shaking her keys. Right? Again, it's all planned, all situated. And they use colors, right? They use colors. So what color was she wearing? She was wearing brown pants with a brown.
All right. I had muted my mic, but on Facebook also, as I'm letting the video play, and I'm looking at some images, and I talk about how they use the police sirens. Okay, so I got to this image, and they use the sirens. All right, so again, there's certain things that they let me know that they, they disapprove of, and they don't want me to be a part of, or to share images and stuff like that, and they'll use the sirens. Okay.
Shirt, and I think she had on. What kind of jacket she had? I don't even know. But she had on like a lighter color jacket. Alright, so, as soon as you see me, of course they know because I'm going to get a listen. So they've been, they'll activate them, meaning using silent sound. And open the door, there she goes. Shaking her keys. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. Your threats don't scare me. And I already talked about that, how the whole key thing, and the reason why, like I said, those law enforcement officers and particularly these court officers, they engage in psychological warfare. Right? One of the things that they'll do is the shaking of their keys back and forth. If you are a target and you go to any thing in court or have you, this is what they'll do. They walk past you multiple times, purposely shaking their keys. Again, it's a condition in the face. Every time you go to court, they will walk past you back and forth, shaking their keys. Yeah, you're a person department. Yep, that's right, exposing your shit. Right? So they're very embedded in terms of their infiltration and what it is that they do. Right? Psychological manipulation. Right? Psychological conditioning, brainwashing. The NYPD, New York Police Department, as well as other agencies will engage in such behavior. And like I said, I have studied a lot of things that they do and have done. And that's one of them. So when you see, like when they start targeting me, they'll start sending people where, particularly men, actually only men, with their keys or their pants loop, but they will grab their keys and start shaking. Right? Yeah? Get them? Yeah. Yep. Criminal organization who use psychological manipulation to indoctrinate people, to manipulate people, and think that they can get away with it. Like I said, you're not going to get away with it. As long as there's breath in my body, I'm going to expose you every single day. Every single day. That's right.
Now, I want you guys to understand the level of the harassment, the attacks, the torture, that the amount of noise that the noise attack that they engage in, it is tremendous. It's a lot. Okay? It's a lot. And I got home, I think that night, and just exhausted, mentally you know, from all the noise, that, like I said, I couldn't even do the video. I literally lay down and passed out. Okay?
Ambulance. Yep. Crooks. Engage in the noise campaign. Alright? And they know what it is. They know exactly what the noise they're making, what they do. Alright? Remember, I have the studies on noise pollution, what they call noise pollution. Alright? The FAA did a study on this thing. They've been doing studies, not just only the FAA. Okay? But independent agencies. Alright, studies on noise pollution, noise campaigns. Alright? And that it affects your cognitive ability. Alright? I got Bob Marley says, don't let them fool you. Or even try to screw you. Alright? Very, very, like I said, they use the science, they understand the science. We just want to believe. Oh, I believe. Oh, look at the fight. Look, they're leaving. Look, they're leaving. Goodbye. Hey, goodbye. Na 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 na. Na na na. Look at that. Hey, goodbye. I love singing that song. Talk to you guys in the video.
Welcome back to a brand new video of the Talking the Video program. Talking experience. Again, waiting for the elevator. It's on the first floor. Been standing here a few minutes now. The elevator's working. It's just holding it. Alright? I guess they want me to take the stairs. Can't do that. But hey, we'll see. It's just a form of harassment. Like I said, they'll find other ways, different ways to engage in harassment. You get a call on, as soon as the call on, again, notifying them that I'm doing the video. All of a sudden, the elevator's coming up. Alright. So, you press the button, line up on the elevator. All the elevator stopped at the floor below me and then went back down. Alright. Manipulation. Oh.
Yep. So they deliberately, all right, because I pressed the button for the elevator. They deliberately stopped the elevator on the floor below me. And then the elevator went down to the basement, went back up to the first floor, and stayed on the first floor.
Electronics. Manipulation of elevators. This is what they do.
Alright, so right here, I thought I turned off the the video, but I didn't. Alright, so the elevator again, it's on 2. Okay, go back down to 1. Alright.
Okay, now let's see how long it's going to stay.
Yeah, it's a quick express.
Alright, went down to the basement.
Okay, now as soon as they saw the basement on the screen, the beat. No, I'm not suing for billions. I'm suing for trillions.
Right.
So they went back up to the first floor.
Right up from the basement. Still on the first floor.
Never came up back to the floor I was on. And this is purposeful because you saw, right? The elevator, you heard the elevator came when it was coming up, and then I showed you what was going on. We're on the second floor.
My knee has been in pain. I took a ibuprofen today. All right, so it's a little bit better. But again, when I talk about them knowing, you know, your injuries and stuff like that, they will do things to aggravate it, like having me walk down the stairs. Right? This is, again, cognitive warfare. Information is weaponized. So look. Now you guys get to see. Like I said, this is retaliation. It's another form of targeting. Once I expose one way, they shift to another. Your targeting never stops. They just shift tactics and methods to other forms. I'm at the brand new video, so I had to walk down to the next floor and press the elevator, as you see. And the elevator still on 1. Okay. So, how do they know that I left the apartment? Because again, surveillance and these snitches and the perps in the building being given commands.
Surveillance.
Exactly what they did. They just hold the elevator. All right. Like I said,
Again,
they want me to walk down the stairs to cause further injury to my knee. All right. Again, walk down to the next floor. Same thing. Now when I get downstairs to the lobby, now the elevator's gonna go. They've been through this, you know, not to this extent, but I've been through something like this before.
All right, so again, the elevator was working. All right, again, the elevator went up, came up to the floor beneath me, and went back down. And you know, I think, like I said, they do this for a lot of reasons, right? So, for example, when they are trying to engage in certain rhetoric and certain narrative, they are going to do certain things, right? And I think I was taking the garbage downstairs. I was here, the garbage downstairs, and hear the car honk. Yeah, that's exactly what it is that they do. And again, listen, I have no, you know, what are they going to do? Run through the garbage for what?
Okay, so
there's nothing in there. It's recyclable.
Since it was a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly what I said. But what they'll do again is to try to cause suspicion, or to try to do things to get around them violating your right to privacy. So, for example, if I took the elevator down to the basement, put the garbage in the garbage containers, you know, the super of the building usually separate out the garbage, you know, and you know what I'm saying, so it's mixed up with everybody else. But if I come down, right, and again, the reason why, one of the reasons why they mess with the elevator is so that now I'm forced to take the garbage that I have outside, right, in which again you see the recyclable garbage there. This is very interesting, right? Because I had recyclable garbage in my hands, and so they can say, look, and again, this is why they start, I think in the previous video, you'll see the LabCorp, if I remember, the LabCorp vehicle, the vehicle with the LabCorp decal on it. You're going to see that. You're going to see that, right? That vehicle is going to pass by. And again, that's how they try to get you into this paranoid state or what have you. I mean, they've done this so many times, you know. And again, it is to terrorize you. It is to cause you psychological harm so they can manipulate you, so they can railroad you, so they can set you up. All right? This is what they do to us. This is why, like I said, the poisoning of our minds as children and as young adults, that is, again, a major weapon that they use against us.
That's all. But I guess they gotta find a way to say, well, you know, oh yeah, we can. You ever see that movie? What movie was where you had these crooked cops and they go through people's garbage, right? To get a fingerprint. I'm like, come on, man, that's bullshit. Listen, I've been in stores, I pick stuff up, I do all that stuff, but again, it's to try to get you into that paranoid, suspicious type of thing. This is what they do. They're making you suspicious. They're making you paranoid. And you gotta understand that. That's what they do. When I talk about the system, this white supremacist system, particularly the system of white supremacist law enforcement, right? When you look deep, you take a deep look, you will see how they create narrative. You will see how they engage in certain narrative. You will see what they do, how they do it. Right? This is why you see a lot of black men in particular.
All right, and let me just give you guys another example. So I've done videos where I talk about they go on these late night raids, right? And then the people they're raiding, the apartments, the house they're raiding, I have black women with no male in the house, no fathers in the house, just a single black woman with her children. And so what that does to these children, it traumatizes them. Now, as they get older and they see police, that trauma from when they were young kicks in, and they may, you know, behave nervously. They might even run. They might even, you know, walk fast or walk away, turn around and walk away. And in the minds of these cops, okay, that's suspicious, right? But what they don't tell you is that a lot of these kids have been traumatized when they were younger by these so-called late night raids. Raids that is based off of lies by these police officers, paying lying informants to say that they bought drugs or whatever, right, when there's no drug, when they're lying. And again, I talked about this. This is what is called fear-based conditioning. Right? That is how they create suspicion. One of the ways they create suspicion within black men and black women. They traumatize us.
In the Innocence Project, you know, these men have been sent to prison for decades for crimes they didn't commit. And the cops knew it. They did know it. But it's the white supremacist system, and their job is to give every black man and black woman, black boys a record. Okay? Put you in the system. I talked about this in many different forms. In the 90s, you know, the Department of Health, right? Taking the DNA of tens of thousands of black boys. Tens of thousands. And that's just in Baltimore, right? Let's talk about New York. Let's talk about Chicago. Let's talk about California. Let's talk about Pennsylvania. Right? Let's talk about Miami. Let's talk about the South. Okay? So again, I know what I'm talking about. It's one thing about me. Yeah, you can shake keys all you want, buddy. I'm gonna shake mine too. Right? So we talking about this thing. See what they do? So it lets you know. Right? The purpose of them turning off the elevator was because they knew I was going to take the garbage downstairs, and they wanted me to bring the garbage aside so they can go through the garbage. Like, so what? I mean, like I said, I've gone to stores, I've touched anything, and they already have my fingerprint. So there you go. But I tell you what, they can't use it to try to set me up though. I'm too well documented. And that's what I do. That's why you document as a TI. Because you know exactly what it is that they do. I'm not afraid of them. Remember, they're the ones that's afraid of us. I can tell you, as black men, we should understand that the police are afraid of us. So we shouldn't be afraid of them. Okay? We gotta recognize that. Don't run from the police. Stand up to them. They're afraid of you. You know what they always say, right? I fear for my life. Why? Because a black man lying on the floor? So you shout at him because you fear for your life? Huh? Why? Because you think you're slick and you tell a black man, let me see your wallet, let me see your ID, and he goes to his ID and you shoot him because you fear for your life? Come on now. Like I said, I'm gonna expose y'all. Y'all gonna stop this shit. See, the one thing that, you know, what I've learned from them, talking about the corrupt, crooked, racist cops, is how to fight them in a way, though you may not have the resources that they do. But you look and you study the tactics that they employ, and you can employ it on the level that you're on your level. Right? They use social media to attack people, to engage in narrative. You use social media to expose them. Right? They create certain narrative in the public, use the public as a tool by teaching the public the truth. Because all they're about lies. So how you counter their lies is with the truth. And the truth about them and who they are. Right? They can't run away from that. Okay? They can't run away from that. Understand the psychopathy of these people. Their personality. Right? The dark triad. The narcissism. Right? The psychopathy, the sociopath. They display and exhibit this every single day, but because they have a gun and a badge, the public don't look at them as such. I look at the lab coat. See, that's why they use the lab coat thing. But I said, look. Hold on a second. See, the lab coat. Right? So I gotta laugh because again, it's funny. And again, me exposing them is how you counter their attack. It's how you counter their lies, their false narratives. Okay? Because again, they're desperate. That's why.
All right, now if you go to the video I uploaded Thursday, December 12th, leaving my apartment building, walking to the intersection, turning, walking up, and I believe that's where the vehicle was. It was either double parked, or maybe it was the light had changed, and they were waiting on, the person was waiting for the light. But the vehicle, if my memory served me correctly, I'm not sure, but it might be the same color.
You see them doing this. They are desperate. But they're gonna be desperate, right? Because liars, manipulators, deceivers are always desperate, right? When you look at the dark triad, you look at cult leaders, they're desperate, they're power hungry. That's why they have to lie. That's why they have to manipulate people to join in their cult. Because they're desperate people, desperate for power, desperate for wealth, money. And once you understand that, you can expose them. Right? And that's how you do it. They're desperate. Like I said, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. They ain't gonna stop me. Like I said, only how they gonna do it is certain thing, but they ain't gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep exposing them. And I'm sure you guys the patterns. Teach you guys the patterns and what it is that they do so you can see and recognize it. That's right. So I'm gonna teach you guys to use the sirens. That's right. I'm gonna teach you guys the patterns and recognizing what it is that they do. And how they create a false crimes to incarcerate the vast majority of black people, right? And using manipulation to manipulate us, right? And expose them. And they're not listening, but they don't listen to them. Oh yeah, so they got the old assemble. Look at they got the dude with the suitcase.
All right, so the reason why I started to record this when I was on the bus is because this stop is a gas station. Bus stop's in front of it. The red Lexus vehicle, right? Again with the license plate.
Oh yeah, so they got the old assemble. Look at they got the dude with the suitcase. Oh, they got the dude with the suitcase. He comes in and they all start staring at me. Like, okay, samples. Anyway, as the bus was passing the gas station, that's where the bus stops in front of, the vehicle parked up there, red jacket, again, gas station, red jacket, red car over there. The license plate, I have to call the license plate because you get number 32 the license plate, right? So I talked about how they have how they use they always find vehicles right at the number 32, and that's another one. That was a red Lexus, right, with the number 32, right? And why do you think that is? Because guy came on with the suitcase, right? So a little subliminals. They're trying to get me to stay by Pam. They had a little get together in the lobby. I guess holiday get together. And again, listen. What they try to do is try to manipulate me and threaten me into socializing with people, right? So they can say, well, look, look, we're reversing what we've done to him. No, you're not. Okay. I've been attacked by too many times. You're a predator department. Let me walk over here so you guys can see. Let me get a good picture. You see they're going to turn. Oh, they're turning. All right, yeah. Talk about that shit. That's right. Look at them. 3314. All right. Calling them.
Again, this is videos from December 12th, 2024.
But yeah, to try to manipulate me into socializing with people who they use to target me, right? No. And again, to try to make me believe that, it's in my head. Like, fuck you. Okay? Fuck you. Alright? These people have targeted me so many times. And I'm very courteous to them. But they still target you because, again, because of these predators, these criminals on the predator department, these white racists, they don't want me talking about the racism that white people do to exhibit towards black people, the bigotry, the ill treatment. They don't want black people talking about that, so we have to pretend as if these things are not happening while they happen, just to make them feel comfortable. Fuck you. You will not feel comfortable. I will not lower myself so that you can be comfortable. Particularly when you and your people are the ones who have continued to oppress black people. All right, I'm gonna give you guys another example. I'm gonna get more into details in the video that I do. Right? You have a landlord here in New York City, Jewish landlord, who for decades have racked up over 50,000 what do you call it? Violations in the apartment buildings that he owns. Right?
I'm doing what the cops do. I added 20,000 more violations. I read it was 30,000. I couldn't remember at the time, but I'm gonna spin it like this. Yeah, I'm doing what the cops do. When they'll arrest you and they'll add a litany of crimes which you didn't commit. But they do that just to make sure that you get indicted, or not indicted, but you get convicted, right? So I added 20,000 more violations. Okay, there you go.
This man was allowed to own apartments, to poison black children, to poison people, to have people living with moles, rat infestation for decades, for fucking decades. And they're allowed to get away with it. Okay? So now in the news they're like, oh well, you know, since 2022, 130 children had elevated lead poisoning in their blood because they were living in apartments owned by this piece of shit who were using lead paint, okay? Even though lead paint has been illegal, you cannot use lead paint in any form, any housing. But he's been allowed to do that. He didn't go to jail. Okay? He didn't go to jail. And that's from since 2022. So imagine the decades and decades of children growing up in the apartments that this man rented to their parents. He didn't go to jail though. And then they fined him $6.5 million. What the fuck is $6.5 million when you have hundreds of black children who's lived in that man's apartment building, in the apartment that he rented, probably even thousands. Because who knows for how many decades. That $6 million is that for the people that was living there? What about the decade before? Huh? What about the decade before? But I want you guys to understand that there are two different rules for different folks. That this man, who have committed some of the most heinous act against people that rented an apartment for him, and of course, you know, it's black people. That's why the city don't do anything. They allow him, even when this man accrued tens of thousands of violations, and they fine him $6.5 million. Okay? But yet, I have to silence myself and not speak about these things to make these racist motherfuckers feel good about themselves. You shouldn't feel good about yourself. And I'm going to make sure you don't feel good about yourself. Because I'm going to keep speaking the truth. Alright? And again, I'm just sharing an article that I read. So it's out there, but because we as black people don't read any fucking thing. Yeah, fuck you. But you gonna run me over? Driving all fast, the fucking light just changed, you driving all fast. Motherfucker, fuck you. Okay? But you see, I want you to understand the Negropean mindset. Right? Ain't nobody gonna run his ass over, right? But they threatened to run me over. That's the Negropean mindset. That's the white supremacist mindset. And they can get upset all they want because they have a European white supremacist mindset. That's the Negropeans. That's why I stay away from them. I stay away from these Sambos and Sambinas who feel because they get to live amongst white people that they're special. You're not fucking special. You're a dumbass. You are a dumbass because they are silencing you. Right? They want to silence us while they continue to abuse us, to poison us, to do all these things to us. Oh, just pretend that God is going to fix everything. So we're in the church every fucking Sunday, right? While our standard of living is going down, while our health is going down. Right? While they're picking out the leaders in your community. So fuck you, nigga peers. And I say it in your faces. Fuck you, nigga peers. Again, this man. You know, like I said, we as black people, we have to raise our conscious level. We are so dead in the mind. We are so dead in the spirit You know, it's not about, oh, my spirit feels this. Your spirit is running from the truth, right? And your spirit is not supposed to do that. Your spirit is supposed to lead you to the truth. That when you hear the truth, your spirit should say, okay, this is the truth. What do I need to fix this? How do I fix this? Even within myself, within my community, within my family, within the broader community. But that's not the spirit you have. You're in church talking about the Holy Ghost and Spirit. That's the devil. That's who you have, the devil. The devil is keeping you in the church, right? The devil is not making you fight for yourself. The devil is taking away your rights. I said the devils are taking away your rights. And you love the devil more than you love your so-called Christ. And again, but he's one and the same. Right? But the part that killed me, because y'all talk about how good Christ is and how he's your redeemer. Right? Redeemer how? How is he redeeming you? Why you ignore what's happening to your children, to your communities that you live in? While the state is allowing these criminal landlords to poison your children, to poison you, to give your children illnesses and sickness. And then after decades, after fucking decades, now they want to come and find him $6.5 million. What the fuck is that? Right? And you should be as angry as I am. But no, y'all nigger y'all love them white people. Y'all love these fake ass people who call themselves Jews, taking your history from you. When they go and do a DNA, they find out, no, that they are not related to any of the Judeans or people who call themselves Hebrew or Israelites of ancient times. No.
And that is true. Okay? Now again, not all European Jews are like this. But it seems those that own apartment buildings, particularly here in Brooklyn, New York, tend to engage in these sort of things when their tenants are black or Hispanic. I've been saying this. I said, you know, when they started gentrifying the community in which, you know, black people live in, the first thing that they did was to dig up the streets and replace the water pipes. That's the first thing that they did. Why did they do that? If the water was good enough for us to drink, right? That's what they say, right? The water is good enough for us to drink. So then why then when white people started moving into the community, into the neighborhood, the first thing that they did was to dig up the street and replace the water pipes? Y'all not listening. Y'all not seeing. Y'all just believing. Well, keep believing and see what happens.
None of them have any ancestry from those people. They're Europeans, white Europeans. Meanwhile, you, black people, they take your DNA, guess what? It shows that you are related. You are descendants of those very said people. So why don't you go do some research on that? But you don't. Because that Bible got you so afraid. That Bible got you so afraid. Right? That indoctrination, that cognitive warfare got you so afraid of learning the truth that you would attack those that look like you, who try to tell you the truth. You would rather side with the racists, the mass killers of your people, because those of us who understand the truth are not Christians. Why should we be Christians? You say Christians are good people. Right? You talk about Christ, but y'all don't act like it. Y'all don't act like y'all good people. The worst people in this world today are in the churches. They're in the synagogues. They're in the mosques. There are no good people in these churches. There are people who believe that they are good. Every black person, every black Christ that has been sent amongst us, they have used us to destroy them. And you read your Bible and it'll tell you how the Jews was the one that turned their back against Jesus, the ones that gave up Jesus, his very own people. But you do the same thing to your fucking Christ or Christies. And somehow you don't see yourself as those very same people who gave up your so-called Redeemer. Huh? How idiotic is that? Tell me. Anyhow, that's my angry rant. Okay, well, listen. We have to become passionate about who we are as people, about leaving this planet in which our children don't have to go through what we go through. Until we break our indoctrination with religion. Until we start to understand who we are as a people, as black people, as Africans. Until we learn about our African spiritual concepts. We will continue to be abused. We will continue to turn the other way while...
As I said the word African, and so they didn't know I was going to do this, so then they hit me with the... So again, one of the things is that, you know, the white supremacists, they believe that America is their country, right? And that black people have no part in this country. This is why they continue to do what they do to us, right? Because eventually they want to ship us back to Africa. Well, from what I remember, Marcus Garvey had the very same idea, right? But the white racists did what? They conspired with the black bourgeoisies at the time to set up Marcus Garvey, right? I mean, these people, like I said, they will never change, and they want us to accept the position that they put us in, right? And we're not supposed to fight back. We're not supposed to say anything. We're supposed to be happy about it, right? And then they say, "Oh, go back to Africa." Well, why don't you go the fuck back to Europe? How about that? Right? I mean, it's ridiculous, but anyhow, let me finish.
Others do some of the most egregious and horrible things to us and our children, while we're fighting against the people who are trying to free our minds, who are trying to tell us the truth. But you rather believe in lies because the lies are so good to you. You're in church, you're clapping, you're singing, you're dancing. I understand your whole culture is brought up around church. But it's time for you to create a new culture. A culture of awareness. A culture of truth. A culture of understanding who you are and accepting your African self because you are an African. And it's not to say that, you have to hate Europeans and hate their belief system. It's not that. It's because I'll tell you what, they show us how to understand who you are. Okay?
And again, what they try to do to us in our mind is to say, well, if you want to be African, go back to Africa. Right? But they'll tell you they're Europeans. they'll tell you, not only they'll tell you they're Americans, but they'll say they're Europeans. They can get to be Europeans and Americans, right? We call ourselves African Americans, but they don't want us to know anything about Africa. They only want us to know about the history of black people in America and in the West, how we came to the West, right? As enslaved Africans. Now they'll go on about their proud European history, but if they really know the truth, they will understand and know that they didn't come from a proud European history. Okay? The majority of their ancestors was not some noble English lords that they have to go, like a lot of them go and buy these certificates, with their name, Lord such and such. Go learn about your history. Right? It's sad when I know more about white people history than they do. Just like it's sad when white people know about black people history more than black people do. Okay? But as a black person, if you know your history, and not just from the enslavement of Africans, because that's not our history. That's his story. Yes, we are a part of his story, but that is not our story. Right? That was something that was inflicted on us, on our ancestors, by the Europeans. But they don't teach you about how Africans educated Europeans, civilized Europeans. They don't teach you about the black people living in Europe, kings, queens, noblemen, noblewomen. They don't teach you about great black European scholars. Alexander Pushkin, right? The father of Russian literature, a black man. Right? Queen Charlotte, a black woman, which Charlotte, North Carolina was named after. Okay? There's a lot they've hidden from us. They don't talk about what's his name? European Oliver Cromwell and his murderous ways, the killing of many, many black Europeans. Right? They don't talk about these things. They know the very first people that settled in Europe were black people. They know this. They hide, they lie, they deceive, they manipulate. Because of their belief in white supremacy.
Show us how to understand who you are. I didn't know more about you and your African self than you will ever know until you become conscious, until you wake the fuck up. Until you say enough is enough. Anyhow, talk to you guys in a minute. All the way up. All the way up. All the way up.
When I sing that song, it's because they, in this building right here, there, if you look at, when you walk and you look up, there's 2 starlight dish up there. Right? So again, Dr. John Hall, Starlight Stalking in America. This is, he was a TI. He's a doctor, anesthesiologist, and he wrote a book called Starlight Terrorism. I think of Starlight Stalking in America, something like that. Right? And how, again, this is having access to starlights, surveillance equipment, highly classified stuff, including, again, the legal microchipping, right? Weaponized I should say weapons based on your DNA. Okay, I mean, like I said, they test this stuff out on us, right? And then they manipulate us, they deceive us, they do all these things to us, and then they label us as being mentally ill to cover up their crimes, right? And then they try to set us up so that if anyone believes us, they can remove us from the society. They can silence us. All right?
All the way. Nothing can save them. All the way. All the way. All the way. All the way. Nothing can save them. Tell them the truth and they run away. Don't know why they stay that way. The lies that they've been told, they believe it.
We're gonna do a vote right now. Live. Am I the greatest hip hop artist? Yeah, I know, I gotta laugh. You know, tonight, actually last night I was, you know, me and my daughter. There are times when I have to do certain things with her which her mother should be doing. So we were pretending that we were attending a concert. I think I was Usher singing You Got It Bad. And then, you know, you're supposed to be cheering me on, clapping, screaming like it's a concert. She's Beyonce and I'm screaming like Beyonce, such and such. And, you know, the concert is over. I'm like, you got to touch my hands. He touched my hands. I'm like, I'm never going to wash my hands. Never going to wash my hands. I got my Beyonce touched my hands. So, you know, there's things that fathers do, right? Fathers are severely needed in the home. You know, just a side note from this, and they know this. Do you know they've done studies? There are many studies that they don't tell you about. Okay, and these studies says that when you're married, when you're young, right, and you have kids, and you stay married, you work through your issues, you get therapy, you build together, you have a greater chance of having some financial security as you get older for yourself, your significant other, your family, your children. Send your children to college. There's tons of studies that tells you that this is the right way. So why do they have us doing it the wrong way? Think about that.
Look, send the Jewish fake cops, right?
Okay, let's go back here.
They've been told, they believe it. Look, send the Jewish fake cops, right? Crown High Safety Patrol. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you. Again, I want you guys to understand that foolishness, but them motherfuckers, when they kind of own apartment buildings, and they do what they do, destroying the health.
Me curse like this, all right? But you know, it's that shit just got me heated that night because again, I had to wait for the elevator, I had to walk down the stairs with my knee hurting, and you know, but it is meant to do that, and you know, that's why, like I said, it is good to expose those, you know, express those emotions, right? Because they want you to bottle up your emotion, not say anything, and be silent. And all that does is cause you negative health outcomes. And they know this. Talk about the weaponization of everything in our lives. Everything.
And the lives of black people. That's why I said, where is our command people? Where is our safety patrol for our people. Because I tell you what, anything happens to you as a black person, they're not showing up. They're not showing up, but something happened to their people, they're there. They are there. So where is ours? Okay, this is again, like I say this, when these people control all our resources, when they control the resources that you and I as black people need to survive, they control our outcomes. They control our outcomes. So when we talk about we're in control of our own destiny, again, it's nice to say those things. It makes you feel good, but the truth is, you don't control your own destiny. They do. They do. They decide whether you're going to succeed or not. Okay? Think about it. How many rappers are there? There's some very, very good rappers, but only a few are selected to succeed. Right? Because the message that the rappers that succeed project is the message exactly what those in power want them to project. And how does that make us look? Right? What image does that give us as black people? Think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And particularly when it's negative. Right? Now, I want to touch on something here when I talk about black people talk about, about destiny and no one can, come on. We've seen and we know that in America, when black people get together, they start building things, they start creating communities that is thriving, white people destroy it. Okay? It is their history of how they treat us, of how they act towards us. Whenever they see black people as a group elevating economically, socially, they have to destroy it. They have to destroy it. So when I talk about black women being more in debt than any other group of women or people, right, is again selling them degrees, and then they come out of school and they're not making enough to pay off their college loan within 5 to 10 years. Okay. And then they're talking what they've been conditioned into is to put their degree as if that's going to get them the type of man they want, right? When it doesn't even get them the type of job that's paying them the amount of money that they think that they should get with the same degree. But that's part of white corporate America, particularly the white financial institutional system, manipulating black women into believing that getting these higher learning degrees, like not just your 4-year bachelor degree, but doctorates and PhDs, what have you, right? But they leave college and they're not making enough money to pay off their college loans. And then on top of that, they're conditioned to be so hyper materialistic that all of them want to drive G-Wagons and, Bentleys and all this stuff. Where's the money coming from? Where you gonna get the money? Again, creating a delusional mindset while ignoring the reality. And that's a problem. So to my conscious sisters out there, or to my sisters who's operating on a conscious level, we need to start teaching, educating are sisters who are operating in their unconscious programming or the subconscious programming so that they can become more conscious. All right, because as we see with the who they put out there for the world to look at and say, oh, these are the type of black women that they have in America. So when they're inviting these female rap artists to the White House, and again, I don't have a problem with that, but they're not inviting black women who are in finance, who are doctors, who are educators, who are scientists, who are business leaders. They are not inviting those women to the White House, because that's not the image that they want to put out there so the world can see of who black American women are. So they put the ratchet rappers, female rappers, okay, out there and say, look, yeah, these are the women that represent black women in America. They're in the White House. They're in the campaign trail. Again, you have to look at these things and you have to think deeply. Why are they doing this? What is their end game? All right. Talk to you guys in the next video.